Hello. In this video, we're going to see how we can use the email verification API to verify phone numbers individually or perform bulk verifications using files. Remember that we can also verify phone numbers through our website by uploading files here with the Zapier integration. Alright, in this case, we're going back to the API section because we want to automate the entire process. The first thing we need to do is create an API. We would click on Create New API. And in this API that we create, what we're interested in is obtaining the token number. Okay? With this token, we'll be able to make the calls to verify the phone numbers. We can visually see how those calls progress to keep track of them. Alright? Once we have created the API, we need to open the documentation tab, and this will take us to what is called Swagger, which is a very simple way to test the API. In this case, we're going to make an individual request to verify a phone number. We expand this option and select that we want to test the API. We're going to select the service we want to use. In the case of HLR lookup verifications, we need to use the phone option. We'll enter our token number. It's very simple. It's 123456, okay? And here we need to enter the phone number we want to verify, including the international prefix. In this case, it's a number from Spain, so it starts with 34. And the rest of the digits of the phone number to verify, we make the call. Here we can see that it's already returning the response in just a few seconds. It's telling us the status of the phone, which is currently connected. Here we have the reachability field, okay? And here we have much more information, such as the original operator, the one currently providing service, the geographic areas it belongs to. What I recommend is that you go to our public website. At the bottom of the website, you will find the documentation about the phone API. If you open that documentation, it will explain here in a very detailed way how you can interpret the verification results. There isn't a simple way to say if the number is correct. I mean, if it has a connectivity status of connected, it means that number is definitely connected to the network, and in the last 24 hours it has connected to a base station, okay? So we can be 100% confident that this number is connected. What happens then? There are countries where we don't get that reachability field, and we can infer the connection status through this data. I would suggest you review it, look at it in detail, and if you have any questions, you can contact us. Remember that this call we made here with a very simple curl request. We have libraries available. We have Postman, which means it will generate the code for you to use on your website with different programming languages. And honestly, the integration is very simple, okay? What happens if instead of verifying a single number, what I want to do is verify a file, okay? We can also use the API. This allows us to automate the entire process. In this case, we need to go to the batch request option, which means bulk requests. Here we have to indicate that we want to test the API. We're going to select again the API we want to use, the file token that we have for authentication. We select the file we want to verify. In this case, I've prepared one for you called... What's it called? Yes, this is the one. Test phone files, okay? We attach it. If you want, I'll briefly show you what it's like. I have a first row with the header of what I'm verifying, and then I have the phone numbers in international format. It's very important that you always include the country code, okay? There are so many numbers that if you forget the country code, it might validate the phone as if it were from another region. For example, if we remove the 34, with this numbering it identifies the number as if it were a phone number from the Marshall Islands, okay? So always remember the international prefix, alright? And the numbers one below the other. Here the fields could contain extended information. We could have the first name, the last name. What I recommend is that you always use only the essential data for verification. We store the encrypted files on our server for 30 days, then we delete them for security and confidentiality reasons. But if you upload that data to us, it's always better, okay? If we go back to the verification, what else can we define? We can or must indicate the column where the phone numbers are. In this case, since I have only one column, I'm going to put one. I can also receive a notification by email to my registered user account every time the file is finished. And here there's also a very interesting feature, which is that I can use a webhook, okay? A webhook is simply a way to automate the reception of the message, alright? I'm going to enter my webhook here. Let's make the call. We can see that the data has been sent to the system for verification, and what it's returning to us is an ID, okay? To check the status. We can use this ID, or as we have the webhook, to see when the verification is finished. I'm going to show you how the ID part works, alright? We have a call, which is the status call. In the status call, we simply have to specify the service we want to check, and we enter the token again for verification. Sorry. Here you should precisely enter the unique identification number or ID that was returned to us when we successfully made the initial call, and right here we meticulously write down the specific token, okay? We then proceed to execute the call, and we can clearly see that it's explicitly telling us that the series of numbers, which were exactly 6 distinct numbers in total, have been thoroughly processed. And it's also prominently showing us the precise number of credits we've effectively used to make these particular calls. Alright? There's the issue that each country has a different price. Okay? This is changing, and what we're going to do to avoid confusion is provide you with a list for the different countries with the various operators. Alright? Similarly, if we take a look, here it's giving us the URL where we can download the verified file. If we proceed to open it, we will then obtain the relevant file right here, available for your access. When we open it, we'll be able to see the different verification statuses. The first one tells us that it has been connected. The second one here, you can clearly see that it's an invalid phone number. These phones have no coverage. This one is connected, and the last one also appears as an invalid phone number. Alright? If we were to go back to the web section, we can clearly see that within the webhook, when the comprehensive verification process has been successfully completed, it then responds with the precise status of each and every one of the individual phone numbers and also provides the specific URL so that we can conveniently download this particular file. Alright then, just like in the previous case. If we go to our Postman, we can see here the calls we can make via batch, and it automatically generates the code in different languages so that we can automate the entire process. Alright? So in this very simple way, we can verify phone numbers. If we go back to the platform and click to view the verifications, we access the API where we perform the verification, and here we can see the status of the files. Okay? We can also conveniently download them directly, or if we genuinely prefer, we can effortlessly go back to the immediately preceding screen, meticulously select the specific API that we have just recently utilized for the comprehensive verification process, and subsequently, we can clearly see all the detailed verifications that have been successfully carried out throughout the entire day. Alright? Alright then, that's all for phone number verification via API. I hope you enjoyed it.